Well, hello, everybody. It is Thursday, what I like to call Little Friday. It is Thursday, October 23rd, and this is 270 weather. Weather for the 270 area code and beyond. Down at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to see the 270 weather headline ticker from R&R Controls, our sponsor, talking about the frost advisory. Then we've got the freeze warning. You can see on the monitor over here, there's all kinds of outlines and counties filled in and all that kind of. That's because of the frost advisory and the freeze warning. So I'm going to break all that down for you here in just a few minutes, and I'll explain what all that means. And then we're going to talk about rain that is coming in for the late weekend and really for much of next week. Much of next week looks fairly wet. Yeah, it's going to get wet. And as of today, of course, the new drought monitor came out. If you didn't see it, it looks a lot better. We'll check that here in just a second. But we go on to the numbers for today. And look at that. Boy, a high of 67. Boy, that's nice. It was nice today. Not as much of a breeze. I mean, it felt a little breezy at times, but that 67, that's nice. 2 degrees below the normal of 69. So, yeah, the normal high has gone down 1 more degree to 69. The low this morning, 39. Not a record. The record low for this day is 24. So we weren't even close to that, even though you may thought, boy, this is cold. It's got to be a record or something. Nope. Nope. 39. And of course, no rainfall for the past 24 hours. And we're not expecting any really anytime soon. But I will tell you and show you when we're going to expect the next round of rain, which should keep us out of the drought. And that's certainly some good news. Okay, let's start with, of course, the here and now. And as you can see, there are, well, there's the radar, nothing on the radar, but there's plenty of product out there, headlines, we call them, for frost and freeze. And yeah, it's one of those kind of nights which you expect in the middle of October. So I'll start over here in the 606. For those of you watching from Somerset to Barboursville to Manchester to Hazard to Jackson to, Prestonsburg, Paintsville, what you have is a freeze warning, and your freeze warning goes into effect at 2 a.m. Eastern until 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. Valleys, low-lying areas, sub-freezing temperatures. Sub-freezing. Some people don't know. Some people take that to mean below zero. No, below zero is below zero. But sub-freezing means it's colder than 32, because at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, water freezes. So sub-freezing would be below 32 degrees, as low as you see here, 29 degrees with the hard freeze. Frost and freeze conditions could kill crops, other sensitive vegetation, damage unprotected outdoor plumbing. In other words, your spigots, your faucets. If you've got garden hoses still attached to a spigot or outdoor faucet or whatever, you need to take that off now, before it gets cold tonight, because that thing could freeze up and you've got some big plumbing problems after that. Now let's go into Kentucky, including parts of the Well, the 606, the 270, and the 502. So we take a look there. That's a freeze warning. Same one that's going to go, of course, from Central Time, 1 a.m. Central to 8 a.m. Central tomorrow morning. Sub-freezing, again, temperatures as low as 31 expected. That's 1 degree below freezing. So, again, crops could be damaged, vegetation, plants that you've got outdoors. You're either going to have to cover them up or bring them in, or you could wake up tomorrow and they're gone. Plumbing, yes. Faucets, garden hoses, yada, yada. Now let's move into south central Kentucky, the Bowling Green area, and the rest of the 270. And we're under a frost advisory, which is, a step down from a freeze warning. So our advisory goes from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Friday morning. So just after midnight through 8 a.m., this will be in effect. Temperatures as low as 33. So we're talking about 33, even 32. There could be a few places 30, 31, but I don't think any colder than that. But some of you, depending on your elevation as to where you live, if you live down in a valley or a holler, as we say around here, and we do have a lot of hills and hollers, if you live in a holler, it could be colder than 33. Or if you live on a higher elevation, it may not be as bad, but it's going to be close to freezing. Therefore, widespread frost tonight. Could harm sensitive outdoor vegetation. Sensitive outdoor plants may be killed if left uncovered. And like the freeze warning area, I would just go ahead and take your garden hose off of the faucet, the spigot, and just roll it up for the winter season and be done. Just as a precaution, okay? Notice the 615 Middle Tennessee is not under any kind of a frost or freeze product. That's because Tennessee's criteria is a little bit different from Kentucky's. So our threshold for this is a little bit more sensitive than their criteria in Tennessee. So that's why. All right. Let's take a look. Now that we've established all that for tonight, I do want to take a look at the drought situation. And we did have some big improvements today. Big improvements. Let me turn off the some of the watch and warning type stuff here. Let's see if I know I'd turn off that. Okay, let me just, nope, that's not what I wanted. Freeze warning, we know what that is. There we go. I just got to learn the buttons. Still a lot of buttons left to learn. But here is the current drought situation. As you can see, a big chunk of the 270 and the 606 was taken completely out of the drought. Yay us. There's still a little sliver of this yellow from Bowling Green, Glasgow, back toward Russellville, Clarksville, Murray to Nashville. That is the yellow on the scale up here, abnormally dry. But that is like level 0. So the lean is we're still abnormally dry, but we're not in a drought any longer. Not even the moderate drought. That's more back into western Kentucky and the Boot Hill of Missouri and parts of Illinois and Arkansas. But for us, really, technically, no more drought. And with another chance of rain coming late weekend and next week, we're going to keep these more consistent rain chances coming, and that should keep us out of the drought hopefully for the rest of the fall season. Boy, wouldn't that be great? I think it's very doable, and I think we're on our way to getting there, which would just be fantastic. All right, let's go to the Kentucky Mesonet. We'll begin to check some temperatures here just after 6 p.m. 6:10 the current time. 50s, 53 here. Ag Expo Center, 55 at the Corvette plant. Most everybody in the 50s right now after reaching a high today, only in the mid 60s. Boy, was it nice. It was really nice. A little chilly this morning. How chilly? Well, here we go. Look at this, Burkesville. Now, if you watch me every day, you know what I'm going to say next. The Kentucky Mesonet sensor in Burkesville is down on the Cumberland River, and so it reads colder than anybody else usually. But look at that. 29 degrees this morning. Low temperature in Burkesville. Wow. But just up the road, the next county up, in Metcalf, in Edmonton, 42 was your low. Big, big temperature difference. But there were a lot of 30s, even here in Bowling Green, a 35 at the Corvette plant, 36 at the Ag Expo Center. We saw 40s for Scottsville and Franklin, a 39 in Russellville, a 35 in Elkton in Todd County, and Morgantown in Butler County. There's a 33 up in Campbellsville, Taylor County. So yeah, there were some frost around this morning. When you get in the mid 30s, you can start to get frost depending again on your elevation, where you live. But I'm thinking tomorrow morning, most of these readings are going to read like 31, 32, 33, 34, and maybe not 40s like some places that we saw this morning. Yeah, I do think it's going to get that chilly. Winds right now are coming out of the north and northwest, and that's key as well, along with the very extra dry dew points, which are also in the 30s. And in this kind of environment, in the fall, in the wintertime, the dew point temperature can be a tell. What I mean is, when the atmosphere is like this, it's clear, high pressure overhead, very dry atmosphere, calm wind. You can look at dew points and pretty much see where we're going to end up as a low temperature. So Campbellsville, you may end up at 31. And here in Bowling Green, 33 to 35. That's about what I thought. Maybe 31 for Morgantown. You see all these low 30s, some mid 30s closer to the Tennessee border, which is expected. But some of us are going to go low 30s. If the dew points are proving us right and it verifies, that's where we're going to end up. So here we go. I mean, it's the first real taste of cold season weather tonight. Whether you like it or not, it is here. It is here. All right, let's go now to the predicted rainfall in the next few days. And as you can see there, we've got some decent amounts of rain coming our way. You can see that we've got anywhere from an inch and a quarter to an inch and a half to maybe some of these purple shaded areas into central and eastern Kentucky, parts of the 502 and the 606. You could see up to 2 inches of rain. This is going to be a very similar setup to what we had last weekend when we picked up that 1.5 inches of rain here in Bowling Green. It's going to be a lot like that, but it's going to be spread out over several days instead of hitting kind of all at once, that's even better. But at least it's a more consistent chance of rain. We're not going these now long dry spells, and therefore the improvement in the drought that you saw, and we're going to keep improving, I think, as we go through time. I don't foresee us seeing another drought situation the rest of this fall, which would just be great, really great. So some of you talking about, I see in your comments that you saw some of the frost this morning. Yeah. Several of you have talked about taking your plants in. That's good. We've got one putting them in the garage, repot them. Yeah, good idea there. Low-lying areas stay above, well, in some of the low-lying areas, but if you're near a body of water, there's a warming, we call it latent heat, that takes place near bodies of water. And that's why sometimes you can see the steam coming off the water. Sometimes the waters will be warmer than the air around it, and it causes that little steam effect to come up. But low-lying areas tonight, anywhere really, I think everybody widespread frost. It's pretty much a given. Anywhere you are, it doesn't matter where you are, I think it's going to affect us all tonight. All right. Now let's go on to the maps, and we'll go day to day, step by step, and we'll take a look and see what's coming our way. High pressure in control right now and through this evening. And that's going to set us up for the frost. Clear sky, calm wind. The winds, if you're getting them now, still a little bit of a breeze that will die down as we get into the night. That's why your frost advisory and your freeze warning doesn't start till after midnight. High pressure right over Bowling Green and the 270 tomorrow morning. That's when it's going to be the coldest. Actually, the coldest will happen just before sunrise. Frost everywhere. High pressure begins to move east by 7 a.m. tomorrow. Look at this rain back here. Now, this is the rain that will be coming in for the weekend. Not at first. I think your Saturday is going to be okay. Whoop, it just reset on me. Let me go up back to where I was right there. So this is 7 a.m. Friday. Here's 1 o'clock Friday afternoon. And then we go to 7 p.m. Friday evening. The rain gets closer, but remember, we've got high pressure here. And as long as that high pressure is close by, it's going to block some of this rain. But eventually the high will move east, and it will allow this system full of the rain and Gulf moisture to move in. But not until probably late Saturday night into Sunday. Here's 7 a.m. Saturday morning, still rain-free. 7 p.m. Saturday evening, some showers, mainly along the Ohio River, the Wabash River, the Mississippi. Maybe some trying to sneak into the Bowling Green area, but the better chance of rain is coming Sunday. And there you see it. Sunday morning. Here's Monday morning. Here's Tuesday. Still raining. But remember, it's going to come in little spurts. It's going to be spread out. It's not going to hit all at once. Let's go to Wednesday next week. There we go. Frontal boundary comes through. A little bit of what we call an occlusion with that low. Simply that means the low is going to start wrapping around itself. And that usually squeezes out a little bit more moisture. I still don't see a whole lot in the way of convection. There may be a few thunderstorms. Not really confident in anything worse than that. Here is next Thursday, the 30th, next to the last day of the month and the day before Halloween. Now, not much is showing here except for some wind, but here comes an Arctic high pressure from the north into the plains, and there will be another system that follows this one, as you see right there, into southern Canada. This one is going to bring a whole lot of cold air. So this system is going to traverse down into the Ohio Valley by Halloween weekend, maybe not so much on Halloween, but Halloween weekend, next weekend. And it could bring us a really heavy shot of colder air, much colder air. It's kind of leaning that way. Still very low confidence in it right now, but something's coming. And I'll show you that on the model blender. And here we go. Next few days, 60s, close to 70. I don't even see any 70s on here. Do you? Nope. Look at these low 60s, upper 50s, and low 60s. Here is Halloween, October 31st, next Friday, a week from tomorrow. 60 for a high, but 41 as the low temperature Halloween night into Saturday morning, the 1st of November. Now, that Sunday that you see right there, November 2nd, that's when we set our clocks back 1 hour. So we go from Halloween to the 1st, and then the day after that, November 2nd, some of you have been asking me. This is when daylight saving time comes to an end and we fall back. Yes, we will still set our clocks. The law has not changed, not yet. Even though there's been discussion, I think we've got bigger fish to fry right now than setting the time. Although that would be cool if we could get it done soon, because I think most of us are tired of the clocks always having to change back and forth. So we just got to give it a little more time. There's always way too many other more important things going on that we have to take care of. So anyway, on that note, let's talk about your needs for heating and cooling. Now, I want you to pay attention because this is the first night for frost and freeze products to be issued in Kentucky. Now, usually when we get a hard enough freeze, like a killing frost, 28 degrees or colder, this is when it puts an end to the growing season for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Kills all the bugs. You know, I had that little pesky gnat that was in here last night during the show. It will kill that, flies, anything still flying around. When it gets that cold, it just kills it all. But that means you're going to have to turn on your heat. And some of you already have, but if you've not checked your heater, then call the folks at R&R Controls to come out and check your system. Whether it's, an HVAC or it's more of a conventional heating and cooling system with a regular thermostat, or you may have something that's a little more antiquated. It's been around for a long time. Maybe you live in an older home and you just want to make sure that when you turn on the heat that it's going to work. Well, this is what you need to do. You need to call R&R Controls set up an appointment for not only to come out and check your system, but set up regular preventative maintenance. Just like you would change the oil in your car, you don't let it run usually past 3,000 to 5,000 miles. You're pretty good about getting your vehicle in, getting the oil changed, filters changed, tires rotated. At least I do it every single time. Because when I was younger and stupid, I actually blew up a vehicle. I mean, threw every rod in that thing, and it was irreplaceable. I mean, it was irreparable. Another vehicle I had, I threw the timing chain on it because I thought I saw the oil light and I thought, well, okay, it's low on oil, but I was just stupid. I ruined 2 vehicles for not doing regular preventative maintenance. So I learned my lesson when I was very young to never allow that to happen again. Because when you pay good money for a vehicle, you don't want to have to let something as silly as not changing the oil ruin it, So same thing here with your heating and cooling system. It just makes sense to get it taken care of. And especially now that we're getting cold, you need to have it done. So call R&R at 270-777-2024. Give them a call tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Some of you get a paycheck tomorrow. And this is something you need to be thinking about. You call them, whether it's your home or your business. Preventative maintenance is the key to victory. 270-777-2024. Because with R&R Controls, you'll never be without heating, cooling, generator power, automation. It doesn't matter. Give them a call. And we thank our sponsor, R&R Controls, for keeping 270 weather well weathered and maintained and here for you as I am every single day. All right. So we got our frost advisory. We've got our freeze warning tonight. And some of this could happen again tomorrow night. I'm just telling you, it's possible. But I see the next few nights, the temperature's going up slightly at night and even keeping that even mid to upper 60s, as you saw there in the model blender for the next several days, and even a few 50s showing up next week once we get some of that rain coming back in. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you'll check on me in the morning at 6 a.m. for News 40 Sunrise, and I will show you then just how cold it got last night. And we'll check the school day forecast and the rest of the weekend forecast, not only at 6 a.m. for sunrise, but 9 a.m. and then again at noon. And then regular updates throughout the day at News 40 WNKY, because local matters. You guys, thank you for watching. God bless you. And I will see you tomorrow.